You're listening to Simple Roots Radio, episode number 118, and today is a short little bonus episode on a question. Oh, okay. It's not a question you have, but it's one that I think you should have, and that's why we should sit down to eat.
Welcome to Simple Roots Radio with Alexa Shern. Alexa believes that simplicity in life is the key to achieving true and lasting health. And now your host, Alexa Shern.
Welcome back. As always, my name's Alexa, and this is the place to get healthy, live happy, and find more joy. Today is a short, quick, little bonus episode, which I promise is normally around 10-ish minutes or less. And today I'm answering one quick question as to why you should sit down to eat. Now, this really isn't necessarily a question, although just to give you a backstory on where this came from. Last week, I was with some friends and we were having this little Halloween get together, and we have a friend and he perpetually stands up to eat. Now, apparently he does this all the time. I just thought it was like in this situation where there wasn't as many chairs. And so, of course, just being a nice guy, that he decided to stand up to eat. Oh, no. This is what he does to eat. And as we were joking, I was really like, no, this isn't healthy for you to stand up to eat. And yet, as I was talking about this, I was realizing, wait, maybe no one knows that it's not okay to stand up to eat. So I wanted to dive in there today. And when I say it's not okay, okay, occasionally standing up to eat is fine. But really, when I talk to you today about why it's better for you to sit down to eat, I think that we should all plant it in a chair to eat our meals because it's so much better for our bodies. Okay, so here it is. The quick nitty-gritty on why you need to sit down to eat, and it has to do with your nervous system. I know, we're going there on a short bonus episode, but I'm just going to give you the quick rundown, and later on, I'm going to do an entire series on the nervous system and how it relates to your health. But today is just the quick Spark Notes version of that. So we have this system, this nervous system in our body called the autonomic nervous system, which runs our autonomic functions of the body, like our heart rate, our respiratory rate, our digestion, like all the things that are happening constantly in the body without any conscious thought involved. Inside the autonomic nervous system, there's two parts. There's the sympathetic nervous system, which is often termed the fight or flight response. And then there's the parasympathetic nervous system, which is most famously known as rest and digest. As we go about our daily lives, we're either living inside one of these two phases, whether it's sympathetic or parasympathetic mode. Now, there's functions for each of those that are really critical, but there's also functions that are really harmful. So like, for instance, today when we talk about eating, standing up or eating on the go, why is that harmful for us? Well, we have to understand what the sympathetic and parasympathetic mode are doing, and then we can better understand why you should sit down to eat. So a brief rundown, the sympathetic nervous system, again, is that fight or flight response in the body. So this is what gives us that get up and go. It converts our energy into our muscles so that we can do work and do life. This is often also called our stress state. So this is where our body is responding to stress stimuli in our environment and having more of a stress hormonal cascade in the body. So in this state, right, we're often take for instance, running. Like if you're out working out or running, right, you're in the sympathetic nervous system. So your body is in this heightened state of awareness, directing energy towards functions of providing energy to your muscles and increasing your respirations and your heart rate and all those things to provide the energy that your body needs in that stress response. On the other hand, we have the parasympathetic mode. This is what's called our rest and digest mode, and often we're only in this phase when we're resting our body, so sleeping at night, or when you're relaxing, or when we're eating, right? This is the place where our body comes in and does a lot of functions of healing and rejuvenation and digestion. Now, here's the thing. Your body can't digest food well in the sympathetic mode. Yes, it can digest food because it has to, but really it's not going to do it well, meaning that food isn't going to be easily broken down and absorbed, and you could cause bloating and heartburn and all these other things that we're going to talk about in a second. But just to give you an example, again, if we go back to that runner, right? Like if you've ever ran on a full stomach, you ate supper, and then you went out for a jog, what happens, right? Like nothing good. You're either going to be super tired, your muscles are going to be extremely fatigued, and that food is just going to sit in your stomach, maybe slosh around, and in some cases, you're going to get rid of it, whether through diarrhea or through vomiting. Now, I know we don't want to talk about that, but that's why your mom told you not to eat before you run, not to eat before you go to the pool, right? It's because your body switches over into the sympathetic nervous system, meaning that it's not capable of digesting food in that moment. But on the other hand, if we're in parasympathetic mode, then our digestive processes are going to happen so much better and more smoothly, and you're going to absorb and excrete exactly what your body needs. So parasympathetic mode is the preferred mechanism. So how do we get there, and what does this look like, right? So essentially, when we're standing up, when we're eating in the car, when we're eating, when we're working, like we're constantly in sympathetic mode. What it takes in order to switch back to parasympathetic mode, sometimes brain training, but also it just takes gestures like sitting down in a chair, showing your body you're going into a relaxed state in order to consume food. And this is, again, really, really important because it's going to help break down food. So when we talk about digestion and it starts in the mouth, like we have to have some awareness of what we're about to eat in order to properly digest food. When we're on the go, when we're standing up, we really lack that awareness to what we're consuming and how much we're eating, right? Like it's so much easier to snack all day long when you're just on the go and moving all about, right? Like you don't register, like your brain doesn't register that you're eating, and actually is going to register, and this is actually studied, that when you sit down to eat a meal, your brain is going to register 30% more food consumption in that meal than if you just ate it on the go, which basically means you're going to eat about 30% less calories sitting down at a full meal than standing up, because there's something in your brain that registers that you're having a complete meal. On top of that, right, we have all this gut microbiome health that's happening, and we know so much about it. But here's the deal. So much of our gut microbiome is interfered through poor digestion, right? Like we have poor digestion happening in our stomach, which is releasing proteins and viruses and bacteria and parasites and other things into our small intestine that really is causing a lot of damage. And then when our body's in sympathetic mode, so now we have already this immune response flaring up. The sympathetic mode is responsible for the immune response. So now we have inflammation on top of all this other stuff that's happening, which causes more swelling, inflammation, fat storage, and all these other things that we really don't want to happen. So with that said, I hope you're starting to understand why it is so important to sit down to eat. So here's the deal. The only way we can properly digest our food and use it without storing excess amounts of it is to sit down and actually enjoy your meal. That's in the absence of TV, of work, of arguments, of eating in your car, right? Like not sitting down in your car while you're driving, because that's in sympathetic mode, right? You're in a stress response when you're driving because you're in heightened awareness. But when you're sitting down at a table, enjoying good company, that's where you are in a relaxed state. And that's how food was intended to be consumed, in a joyful, relaxed, happy state. And that's my encouragement to you, is to try sitting down, like every single meal. And if you can't find time to sit down, then maybe wait until you can have that time. Now, I'm not saying like just skip all your meals because you're too busy. I'm saying we have to find time. Like people get lunch breaks because it's scientifically proven to improve the work ethic of the person, right? Like we need these breaks in order to consume calories, but also to break them down and digest them properly. So if you're not sitting down for meals, you have to start sitting down for meals. Like that is what I'm going to say. No more eating in the car, no more eating behind your desk. Like take 15 or 20 minutes, preferably even 30 minutes at every single meal to really enjoy it. Let your body digest it. And I can assure you, it's going to do great things with that because, like I said, in sympathetic mode, you're inducing an inflammatory response. You're diverting energy other places. Like, it's just not ideal. So can we beat inflammation? Can we increase our immunity this time of the year by just sitting down to eat your meals? Yes. There's real science to back it up. You must sit down to eat your meals. So I hope that helped answer that question. We are under 10 minutes, which is astounding for me because I can get a little wordy, as you know. So take some time, sit down to eat your meals, notice a difference, and let me know, what do you feel? What has changed? And will you continue to sit down to eat your meals? Leave a comment in the show notes at simpleritswellness.com/118. That's 118, and get more information on the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. But no, remember, There is more information coming out about this because it's really fascinating. And if we can train our body to get back into parasympathetic mode more, could we heal more disease? Could we heal inflammation and so many other things? Plus, help our brain to be less anxious and overwhelmed? I mean, I think that there's enough research to back that up that it should be a way of life. So, stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, sit down to eat your meals, really choose to enjoy them, and stay tuned. Next week, I have a very special interview talking all about happiness and how it relates to your health. So stay tuned. I will see you next week.